The face-to-face meeting in Alaska between US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin has ended without a ceasefire deal. The Russian president landed on US soil to a red carpet welcome by President Trump. The 2.5-hour summit was followed by a brief press conference, but there was no indication of any agreement to end the fighting in Ukraine. We have correspondents in Alaska and Ukraine tonight. Cayman Gok begins our coverage from Anchorage.
Vladimir Putin receives a red carpet welcome, stepping onto American soil for the first time in a decade. Warm handshakes between a president and a pariah, ending years of a diplomatic freeze over Russia's war in Ukraine.
President Putin, will you stop killing civilians?
The accused war criminal was even invited into the confines of President Trump's personal limousine. A beaming Putin was seen as the beast drove away.
Mr. Putin, will you agree to a ceasefire?
President Trump had hoped to pressure his Russian counterpart into a peace deal. But in the end, it was a 2.5-hour meeting that left Mr. Trump with little to say.
There were many, many points that we agreed on, most of them, I would say, a couple of big ones that we haven't quite gotten there, but we've made some headway. There's no deal until there's a deal.
President Putin was equally as ambiguous.
Of course, Ukraine's security must also be ensured. I would like to hope that the understanding we have reached will allow us to get closer to that goal.
And relished the chance to again be standing alongside an American president.
I got off the plane and said, "Good afternoon, dear neighbour. I'm very glad to see you in good health and alive."
For all the hype that led to this summit, the press conference lasted just 12 minutes. President Trump prides himself on cutting deals and being a peacemaker, and yet it appears he secured neither. For a man who relishes the limelight, he let his Russian counterpart speak first, and when he didn't take a single question, it was telling. This did not go the way President Trump had hoped.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Donald Trump has shifted the goalposts and is claiming the meeting as a win.
I think the meeting was a 10 in the sense that we got along great, and it's good when, two big powers get along.
Though as he left, his face suggested otherwise.
No more war!
Now Mr. Trump says he will call NATO and Ukrainian leader Vladimir Zelensky, who was locked out of these talks and potentially others if Putin has his way.
We'll speak to you very soon and probably see you again very soon. Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Next time in Moscow.
Oh, that's an interesting one. I don't know. I'll get a little heat on that one, but...
Russia's leader making no promises, but flying back to his homeland with a PR victory. Cayman Gok, ABC News, Anchorage.
Let's go to America's editor John Lyons with his take on how the meeting played out.
The war in Ukraine will continue, and Vladimir Putin has outmanoeuvred yet again another US president. This was vintage Vladimir, who'd spent years studying the art of psychological war as he rose through the KGB. In Anchorage, he was the walking embodiment of charm and bonhomie, from alleged war criminal to presidential guest. After the meeting, Putin made one thing clear: Russia's attack on Ukraine will continue. His sticking point: Russia needed to eliminate all the primary causes that led to the war. That had always been Putin's justification for invading Ukraine: NATO encroachment near the borders of Russia. Trump was unable to even prize from Putin a conditional ceasefire or an agreement to meet Ukrainians Volodymyr Zelensky. Putin's invitation for the next meeting to be in Moscow, presumably a way to exclude yet again the Ukrainian president. Clearly, for Putin, the summit brought him back onto the top table of world powers and the chance of business and economic opportunities between Russia and the US. Vladimir Putin has had a complete victory in the heavyweight title fight in Alaska.
Ukraine says Russia's attacks continued even as its president was talking peace. Europe correspondent Elias Kluwer joins us from Kyiv. Elias, what's been the reaction there?
Good evening, Lexi. Well, the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky was controversially iced out of this Alaska summit. But he said he spoke to Donald Trump not long after the meeting. He said it was a meaningful discussion. It's been reported it lasted about 90 minutes. And that dialogue will continue when Vladimir Zelensky travels to Washington to meet with the president in person on Monday. Now, the last time he was in the White House in February, it of course descended into a farce. It in fact ended with Mr. Zelensky storming out of the Oval Office. Now, here in Ukraine, the reaction to this summit has been scathing, at least in the key newspapers. One headline described it as sickening. It's been perceived as a legitimising of Vladimir Putin, a man responsible for this war that's killed tens of thousands of Ukrainians. Add to that, nothing material in the way of a ceasefire came from it. And, at least publicly, Vladimir Putin's position on key issues that are driving the war have not changed. So many Ukrainians take that to mean this war will just drag on. Lexi?
All right, thanks, Elias.